Okay, so we just got back from New York City last week, and I think it's going to be one of the last vacations we're going to be taking before we go back to New York. And except
just
for
this one.
we're going to Whistler at the end of this year, so from like December to January, and that's because it's the last time we're probably going to get to go to Whistler while we're here in California.
So sad.
You know, a lot of people who have been watching our videos have kept asking us, are we in New York right now? And if you're new to this channel, then, you know, my name is Jason. And
I'm Monica.
and we're both nurses here in Sacramento, California. We used to live in New York, making, I don't know, like $50 an hour. And this was back in 2017. The reason we moved to California is because we had terrible ratios in New York. The cost of living was ridiculous. We didn't get paid well at all relative to that cost of living. And we ended up moving to Roseville when we first moved here. We lived there for 1 year before we decided to move to Sacramento. Roseville is basically a suburb of Sacramento, and it's only like 25 minutes away. But in traffic, it can be like 40 minutes away. Anyway, when we moved to Roseville, I worked at Sutter Roseville for about 8 months to almost a year before I ended up moving to Kaiser Permanente, which is where I work now. And Monica didn't even have a job. I was the first one to get a job. We moved from New York City, and then 3 months into my career at Sutter, Monica ended up getting hired at Kaiser Permanente after submitting like 300 applications to multiple different facilities and different hospital systems. So now she's making $142 an hour. I'm making $110 an hour. And this is both of us working at Kaiser Permanente. So when Monica first started working there, she was working as a day shift nurse making like $67 an hour, which was $17 more per hour than what we were making in New York. And we thought it was great, you know, because we knew the potential of what it meant to work as a nurse for Kaiser Permanente. Because if you're, by the way, we're not paid by Kaiser Permanente to say anything good about them, okay? But we just love working there. And we are not representing them in any way in any of these videos. I just want to clear that out, okay? But she started at $67 an hour, and we knew once she started working there that we were heading in the right trajectory, because if you work for Kaiser, there's multiple benefits you get from it. One, you only pay $78 to $80 every 2 weeks to get all of the benefits that the union has worked so hard to obtain. Some of those benefits are health insurance, dental insurance, paid vacation leave, paid sick time, bereavement leave. You also get 6-day premium. So like if you're working 6 days in a row, on that 6th day, you get paid time and a half. You also get paid double time for the full shift if you work 7 days in a row. And in addition to that, you get this thing that we call run pay. So like if you work after the 7th day, if you continue working and you don't stop working, you get paid time and a half every single day until you stop working. And then in addition to that, every 7th consecutive day of work, you also get paid double time for the entire shift. And in addition to that, the ratios, like this organization definitely keeps their ratios. There's no if and buts about it. At least, you know, this is one thing that we knew coming from New York, that it had to be true, because our friend who was working at Kaiser told us they never go out of ratios. And if you've been listening to the headlines lately, you know, with what's been going on in the strike in Southern California, part of the reason why those nurses are going on strike is because they say that the organization is not meeting the ratios that were bargained in a collective bargaining agreement. And the ratios that they have down there are even more strict than the ratios we have here.
When you say down there, you're talking about
in
SoCal, right?
Southern California's Kaiser Permanente hospital system. Because down there, like nurses in the ER, for example, have a 3-to-1 ratio. So it's 3 patients to 1 nurse. Here is 4 patients to 1 nurse, which I'm already like, you know, I'm not complaining about that. But damn, if you have 3-to-1, that's even better. It's hard to maintain that, because the reality is that a lot of hospitals in California don't even maintain the ratios. They try to go around it. So when I know when I worked at Sutter Roseville, one way that they kind of tried to steer around the ratios is by saying, yes, you have 4 patients now, but there's this patient that's waiting for you. They're right there. Like, they're kind of your patient, but not really your patient. That's kind of how they get around it. And there's other creative ways that these administrators try to get around the laws without actually getting penalized for it. But yeah, so anyway, we're working at Kaiser Permanente, and it's been, what, 8 years for you?
Yes.
I'm going on 8 years. So she's like 8.5, almost 8.5 years.
I would say so.
Right? And we're moving back to New York in the summer of next year, in 2026. And we're at a point now where our net worth has grown. It was like negative 80,000, negative 200,000 at one point, but now it's about 800,000. It could be higher, but over the last 2 years, we've been so focused on so many other things that our net worth has taken a huge hit. Some of those things are our Nurses to Riches Accelerator program that we created last year. At that time, I believe it was like almost 2 years ago now, we decided to just pause our 401k because I just wanted to strictly focus on business-related investments, right? So we created this Nurses to Riches Accelerator program, and at one point, we made like $50,000 in 1 month. And that was with me and Monica only working about 20 hours a week from our jobs, but the rest came from our business. And I ended up taking all of that money and I used it to build what we're building now, which is Map My Pay. That's the company that we're building now. It's an app, but the website's coming soon. It's a web application that's going to allow users to compare their salaries and the cost of living in their current city as nurses to over 1,000 cities in the US. In addition to that, we're working on our community. We're going to have things similar to what TikTok has and Facebook has and what Instagram has is Reels. We're going to add something similar to that in our app. We just talked about it today, but we will have that on eventually. And it's just going to be a nursing platform. So nurses can share their salaries, their pay stubs. They can talk about their side hustles, their investments, all these things, but only for nurses. And eventually we might expand to other, healthcare related roles, but that's what we're focused on right now. So let's go back to what I was saying at the beginning. Monica and I, we just got back from New York. And the reason we went there is because our co-founder wanted us to go to a nursing conference out there. And it was a 3-day conference. We stayed there for 2 weeks instead of like the only 3 days.
Just extended it.
Yeah, our co-founder, Sumit, I just filmed a video with her, so you guys should see that video. Whenever you see this video, you should be able to go back to it. But she wanted us to go to this conference because she said maybe we should have like face-to-face interaction. And you know what? Yeah, marketing. It'll help us with that. And you know me, I've been doing YouTube videos for a long time. I've been marketing myself online, and I feel like that's the most cost-effective way to do it because you don't have to pay anybody to do that. People actually will pay you for whatever you're offering, as opposed to you paying an organization so you can go there and market yourself. Anyway, so we went to it. It was great. Like, we got to meet a lot of people. However, I felt like there weren't as many nurses as I was expecting.
It was mostly presenters.
Yeah. I think there were maybe like 200 nurses max. I think that's even over-exaggerating, right? Like that's too many. That's overestimating. Yeah, probably like 100 nurses in total. But we got to meet people we could potentially partner with. So that was the only thing. However, we spent like $4,000 just to go to this conference. Sumit had to pay for her flights. I had to pay for our flights. And then we had to rent a car while we were there. We paid for the conference itself, which was like $900. So at the end of the day, personally, I would rather use our income to invest it in marketing in other ways. Like, we just recently hired a content writer for our newsletter, so he's helping us out with that. We pay him about $100 a week because he's based in the Philippines. However, one thing that we're doing is we're promising our team members who come in initially at the beginning, if they stick with us for the long term and they help us out, they're going to benefit financially. They're going to be rewarded for it. And he only has to write 2 newsletters a week, which is actually pretty easy. It takes maybe an hour to do both of those. So, $100 an hour a week, I think it's pretty reasonable, right? And then we also have my brother. He's going to be part of our team. He has been attending some of our meetings. And what he does is he has worked with acquisitions before with American Express. So he's going to help us figure out how we can raise capital if we need to. But Sumit said that she's willing to fund the entire operation. And if you watch our video, you'll see why. Like, she's worth a lot of money. So she says she's willing to fund this for as long as it takes. And we depleted most of our funds. At this time, I don't want to actually use any of our funds for the application itself. But if we need to, I'll just pick up extra shifts at our job to do that, because I don't want to pull anything from our 401k, any additional stocks that we may have left. and our bank account. I don't want to deplete any of our funds from there, but I'm willing to pick up extra shifts. So let's talk about how much we're actually working, because that's where I think there's an issue, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about your situation here. Monica is per diem, right? Mm-hmm. How many shifts have you worked this month?
I think just one.
Exactly.
One so far. I had to ad hoc in. So I signed up for this system. We call it ad hoc. And if they need nurses, they send out mass emails, mass texts to ask nurses if they want to come in. If other nurses call out sick or whatever, if they really need extra nurses. So after our vacation, we get back to California, and there's a couple of ad hocs. So I was able to come in, Saturday night?
Yeah.
And then I was kind of hoping Sunday night I can come back in, but there was no ad hocs. So I applied for a traveler's template. Sometimes they give that out to...
So you can cover any empty slots for nurses who go on vacation or who need to go on maternity leave, paternity leave, whatever the case may be. Just to fill these empty slots for a short period of time.
And flu season as well. Yeah. So it looks like they gave me some shifts, but not enough for me to work. It's probably only like one shift a week. So therefore, I'm barely working. And Jason kind of has to pick up the slack, and he's thinking about picking up shifts so that we can make more money, in a sense.
And this year, I think we kind of overdid it with the number of trips we took. Because at the beginning of the year, we went to the Philippines for 3 weeks. And not only did we pay for ourselves, we also told 2 of our family members that if they came with us, we would pay for them too. And we did. And let me tell you something. This is the reason why we want to be wealthy, though, is because going on trips with family members, who you really care about, who care about you, I think that's the most rewarding thing for me, to be able to pay for them. So that's part of it, and you guys are probably going to hate this, but Zoran Mandani, he reached out to Monica, his team reached out to Monica a long time ago.
Well,
and
I think we were going to talk about this, but okay.
You guys, so we're pretty independent, okay, when it comes to our politics, because when we think about things like the crime happening in California, something needs to happen and it needs to be corrected, right? If people are committing crimes over and over and over and they continue to get released, that's not the right way to approach it. Homelessness situation. If people keep getting offered homelessness services and shelter and they keep refusing it, something needs to happen. But then when it comes to other things like our personal finances and how we feel about taxes. So Monica and I, we grew up extremely poor. And I remember when I was younger, I have 3 siblings, right? My mom and my dad, they ended up getting a divorce they separated when I was like 7 or 8 years old. But before they got a divorce or before they got separated, I remember my dad went outside because we didn't have a mattress to sleep on. He found one outside, brought it in the house, and we were sleeping in that dirty mattress when we were young. We grew up in what is public housing, and we consider it the projects in New York City. We grew up in public housing in New York City. And my mother ended up raising us. She worked 3 jobs to do that. And Monica was in a similar situation. Her mother was a single mother. She basically supported all of her siblings and her by herself when they came from the Philippines. And Monica was 12 years old. And Monica was a young mother. And when she was a young mother, one of the reasons why you were able to do that successfully is because there were so many programs available to you at the time.
Absolutely.
Right?
So people say oh, Monica, you just want to take, at that time people view it as you received handouts. And I just want you guys to look at where I came from and where I ended up in. And this is why I believe in these social services, because without it, I would have never made it out of high school. Okay, so my mom, she has an affordable housing apartment. I was able to go to school because they gave me a green Metro card so I could take public transport with my daughter. I went to a high school that provided free childcare. So this is what Mamdani wants to implement, okay? Free childcare 6 weeks to 5 years. So while I was going to school, and mind you, I had nobody else to watch my daughter. And this was before I met Jason. My mom went to work. She was always at work. I had no family in New York City at that time. And so I had nobody to watch my daughter. So I went to a high school that had a daycare. It was called the Life Program. For about a year, that's what I had to do. And that's how I ended up getting my high school diploma. Then after that, I ended up going to a community college, which is BMCC, which is where I met Jason.
And the reason why I mentioned Zora Mamdani is because the reason he reached out to her is because of a video she made where she talked about how
My struggles.
she struggled as a young mom, and the only reason she was able to make it is because of all these services that she was able to have access to
Yes.
when she was poor and low income. And as we make more money, I am okay using our tax dollars to help people that are in need.
Absolutely.
But I feel like the tax dollars need to be used for people who are in need and not just to plump up the pockets of the top 1%. Because that's what's been happening for far too long. I don't think my mentality is going to change. If I'm making, let's say, $10 million a year, I'm okay with you taking half of that as long as it's benefiting people who actually need it.
Absolutely, 100%.
So anyways, man, I feel like this video could have been longer, but we're going to pick up our son right now. If you guys want us to continue this topic, please let us know, because we are here and we're going to pick him up soon.
Yep.
Okay. All right, guys. We'll see you guys on the next one.